Hi, my name is Gregory Phillips. This is a presentation on effective communication and career planning. As you can see, I've got Wayne Rooney here. We're looking like Shrek, and Jose Mourinho both doing some interviews. And I'm also going to talk about, athletes and what they do and how they live and how their lifestyles work with what they do. And let's start with the purpose an athlete doing an interview. Yeah. The purpose of an athlete doing an interview. The reason an athlete will do an interview is because it will boost their fame and publicity, making them more popular with the public. It allows them to promote themselves as a person and an athlete. It also allows them to redeem themselves from any mistakes they might have made through interviews. An example of this is at the end of a football match where Sky Sports or Chelsea TV may interview a footballer from per se Chelsea about their performance on the game or another player's performance. And if this player at the end of the game says, "Oh, I think that player didn't play well at all," but if they said it badly, then the other player who they were talking about could potentially get upset. And if this is the case, their publicity and popularity will sadly drop. There are many types of interviews that an athlete will experience during their career. However, the two that I am writing about today are interviews with live radio and live television. The difference between being live on radio for an interview, other than TV, is that on a radio it's not possible to see your face or what you're doing. On a radio you can have your lines with you, you can know what you're going to say, you might be told what to say, you might be reading it off some paper. And when on the radio, an image isn't a big part of it. You could be wearing, literally nothing. The audience who are listening don't know what you're wearing. It doesn't matter what you look like, as long as your voice is there and they can listen to it, answering the questions they want to be told. However, when on live television, image is a big part of it. Jose Mourinho here, wearing a nice suit, wearing the badges. He's wearing a remembrance poppy to let everyone know, he's a nice role model. He's remembering Remembrance Day. As well as that, it looks a bit puzzled in his face. The reason for that is because he's probably being put on the spot with a random question. Significant others. Oh, sorry.
Signification.
Spelt that wrong. Let me just. Significant others. There we go. Significant others. An athlete will have many significant others that they will need to communicate with through their career. The examples that I have written down are coaches, teams, agents, officials, which is this one right here. The referee is an official in football and in other sports, and fans. These are the fans here. You don't want to end up like them. Look at the size of the fella. So they are all significant others that an athlete is going to meet and have to communicate with in their career, in their short 10-year career. The difference between communicating with different significant others is what this is about. And the two I've chosen are fans and coaches. Right. The reason I've chosen these two is because they're rather different for an athlete. For example, the way an athlete will communicate with a fan is much different compared to the way they will communicate with their coaching staff, in a way that they won't give them as much eye contact, because a coach needs to be treated with a lot of respect, and they have to listen to them, and they need to show eye contact so they know they're listening. Where a fan, on the other hand, will be treated more like you've met a nice stranger. They'll talk to them, they'll be friendly. However, they won't give them a lot of eye contact. They won't treat them as if they're superior to them. And these are two examples of two different significant others that will make an athlete communicate differently between each one, because they're at different higher status levels. the fan, for example, will not be treated the same as a professional coach for that athlete, because their coach is effectively their parent, their god. They respect them. They are worthy of them. Whether a fan is just an ordinary person in the nicest possible way. The reason it's important for an athlete to plan an interview in advance is so that they know exactly what they're going to say. The reason for this is an athlete doesn't want to slag off another athlete accidentally, or slag off a performance of anyone, whether that be a coach, a manager, a player, even an official. The reason for this is because that will give them a bad name as they are talking badly of others. The reason it's important for an athlete to have a career plan, because most sports, to get to that professional level, is the hardest career to get to in the world. So when you get there, you get a lot amount of money, which means you don't have as much of a long career. But for example, in football, if you suddenly get a bad injury, that might be your career done after all that hard work and training, and then you're left with nothing, so you need to have a good backup. All professional athletes would have started with a backup. Most of them probably still even have one just in case at the end of their career. That's why they're good to have. A very popular backup for an athlete is to become a sports/PE teacher in a school. This has happened to many athletes over the years that have been had to drop from their sport either through injury or competition. And the reason it is so popular as a backup plan is because you get to play sport every day, which all athletes will enjoy, and you get to teach and pass over the torch to younger athletes who want to live up to their dreams, just like they once did. Secondly, another popular backup is to become a sport coach, because it's very similar to a PE teacher, but you focus on this one specific sport, and again, you get to pass over your wisdom to make other children who are growing up succeed and excel in that sport that you once loved. Other backups go as a sporting officer, a sports psychologist, a sport therapist, and sport coach. Goal setting and SWOT analysis. First of all, goal setting. There are three parts of goal setting. There are short-term goals, long-term goals, and medium-term goals. Short-term is where you focus on one specific goal, either from 1 week to a month. Long-term is obviously a lot longer. It lasts up to 6 months to a year of setting goals for a longer period of time, which allows you more time to reach those goals, which is why they are often more hard. And medium, lastly, is where you set a goal which has to be completed between the end of short term and the start of long term. A lot of athletes use this before an event or a competition. The reason being is it pushes them to succeed more whilst playing, getting the most out of their performance, and it allows them to play at their best. Alright, SWOT. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Every athlete analyses with SWOT. The reason being it's the best way to get the best out of their performance. It's also used during a lot of interviews as it helps them to answer questions easily.
You an impersonation of Graham Norton.
So this is an example of me using SWOT analysis. This has been done on a friend of mine, John Chambers, who is a goalkeeper in a football team. After his games, he comes up with his own SWOT analysis, and his strengths, for example, is his shot stopping. He saved multiple saves in the game through diving saves, standing saves, but he saved his team a lot from them conceding goals. John's weaknesses, however, in the game of football. This includes his kicking. Goalkeepers require a good power and speed and strength of kicks. Speed and power solves many things for the goalkeepers, but John, however, has got quite a weak kick so weak in fact it doesn't even reach the halfway line. And for a good standard team, you need it to go even past the halfway line up the field. He struggles most with his goal kicks, not from a drop kick per se, but when it's gone out of the pitch on the edge of the goal and it's a goal kick from the floor, he struggles to kick it off the floor into the air, which is required much so. However, despite his weaknesses, John does have opportunities to improve his kicking. An example of this is going to the gym, where he can build up strength in his thighs to get them stronger. More strength equals more power. Another way he can improve his kicking is going to the park and practicing lots of technique with a bag of balls. Well, his threats are that he could get injured during training at any point of the season, either playing a game or within training. Especially if he's at the gym, he may injure his leg muscles, causing him to then have to sit out of the team for a while. While this is happening, the team might get a new keeper brought in, which may make it a lot harder for John to then try and get back into the squad. Thank you very much for listening, Claire, and any other viewers. This has been Greg Phillips' presentation, signing off.